Hey, vinyl community, it's Doodad Dave coming at you. Gonna do some 1976 vinyl, kind of finish it up. So I got some studio albums here. Then I'm gonna do some live albums, and then I'm gonna finish it up with some best of into compilations. So lead off in the shrink. I still have Tom Waits' "Small Change." Great album with a bunch of jazz folks, Shelly Manne and Lou Tabakan on tenor sax, Shelly Manne on the drums. He used this on his next album too. Wonderful songs on here, Invitation to the Blues. He's got Step Right Up, Jitterbug Boy, The Piano Has Been Drinking, but Not Me. And there's Tom Waits. It's kind of signature. 1976 on the Asylum Records, Electra Asylum. None such it was at that point. All right. That's a great one. A great artist. This was one of his first albums, Tales of Mystery and Imagination. I think this actually was his first album. I'm going to double check that on the 20th Century label. Alan Parsons Project. Everybody knows the engineer from the Dark Side of the Moon. Very interesting concept album that Alan did with stories from Edgar Allan Poe. This has a great insert. There's all kinds of pages in here, pictures of Edgar Allan Poe, all the lyrics. Very nice packaging with this gatefold. And there's Alan and his partner Wolfson. That's Wolfson's Eric Wolfson and Andrew Powell did the arranging. Wonderful recording, of course, as Alan Parsons always does, and really interesting music. Fits the theme of the Edgar Allan Poe, kind of a Halloweeny type of theme. And next we have Al Stewart, Year of the Cat. Great album covers in 1976. I'll feature that one. Also, A Gate. There's Al in the back. One of his most popular albums. Very, very good album. Very high quality. Great people he had playing on here. George Ford, Tim Remnick, Peter White, Stuart Elliott, Peter Wood. On the Border and Year of the Cat were the two big singles from this album, but the writing on it is very solid, very, very good. An excellent English singer-songwriter. And other than Elton, I mean, there were good English singer-songwriters, don't get me wrong. There's Nick Drake, there's all the Roy Harper, there's a lot of good English singer-songwriters, but a lot of the singer-songwriters in the 70s was dominated out of the Laurel Canyon group. Coming back to the States, we have Kiss. This was a huge one. Destroyer. This is actually Dylan Daly Rock's album, so I give a shout out to him on the Casablanca label. Thank you for lending me this, Dylan. The rear artwork has Detroit Rock City, probably my favorite Kiss song, and I love that movie. It's just a fantastic movie, trying to get to a Kiss concert, these kids. The mother says to the son, she goes, "Did you smoke the dope?" Love that part. God of Thunder, King of the Nighttime World, Flaming Youth, Beth, Shout It Out Loud. Just the guys, Gene and Ace and Stanley and Peter Criss rocking it real hard. Then we have from hard rock to hard jazz. That wasn't the best segue. Maybe Jazz Fusion, Romantic Warrior, 1976. This was the Lenny White and Al Di Meola, Chick Corea, and Stanley Clarke there on the left. That was their nice logo with the bird and sort of medieval theme, but very, very Return to Forever-ish. The album holds together well. Very, very well recorded. Excellent production values on this. They produced themselves. Stanley Clarke, Lenny White, Al Di Meola. It's a producers with Chick Corea. Everything on here from Medieval Overture through Duel of the Jester and the Tyrant is great. Just it's sort of a concept album. Of course, it's instrumental and hangs together really, really well. Another great album. I don't know what I did with the disc from this. It's buried in my pile. But this is Atlanta Rhythm Section, one of my favorite Southern rock bands. This was a rock and roll alternative. So Into You was the hit from this. There's a great song, Hitchhiker's Hero, mentions Watkins Glen, which is pretty cool. Great, great rhythm work. I mean, you think Al Cooper did a good job with Leonard Skinner. These guys are recorded perfectly. They have another single, Spooky. They did the cover of Spooky. It's got Outside Woman Blues on this. They wrote a Georgia Rhythm. It's a very, very nice album. Rock and roll alternative, the 1976 offer from the Atlanta Rhythm Section. And then across the pond again, we have Genesis, Wind and Wuthering. They released 2 albums. I did Trick of the Tail already. This was the Wind and Wuthering album. Great, great album. You have Hackett on this as well. 1976. There's the Atlantic label. Nice artwork. And I think I've got a OIS. Oh, I wanted to tell people what an OIS is. Original insert. OIS, right? Original insert. OIS. Original insert included. Something like that. Anyway, when you buy albums, they say OIS. Original inner sleeve. There it is. Wow. Okay. I'm okay. It's a day off for me today. Here's the lyric sheet from Wind and Wuthering, and everything on here, All in a Mouse's Night, Afterglow, The Rooftops, another kind of concept album, but with lyrics, of course, with Phil taking over the lead vocals from Gabriel here, and they were just very, very strong in 76. This is great, great music. Hypnosis did the album cover. Hackett, Rutherford, and Tony Banks on the basses, and Banks on the keys, Collins on the drums. Just, everything on here. One for the Vine, What Gorilla, Afterglow. It's wonderful, wonderful album, Wind and Wuthering by the Genesis. Okay, going back, talking about singer-songwriters from Laurel Canyon. Doesn't get much more singer-songwriter-y than Jackson Browne. The Pretender, his great, great album, follow-up to Late for the Sky. This was after, unfortunately, the demise of his wife. We won't talk about that. We'll stay positive. Great inner sleeve with all the lyrics here. Here's his son on the back, and has a song by Pablo Neruda. Jackson walking there being the Pretender. And, you got Lowell George from Little Feat. People know I love playing a guitar in Your Bright Baby Blues, The Fuse. Another album with excellent Sleep Stark and Silent Gate that Bonnie Raitt covered later. The Pretender, The Fuse, Cooks Along. You've got, Russ Kunkel, Leland Sklar, Craig Dirge, the Section Guys, Lindley on slide. Waddy Wachtel on here. It's a fantastic album. Fred Tackett from Little Feat, David Crosby, Graham Nash. You get the idea. A typical Jackson fest. I love Jackson Browne. I think he's a fantastic songwriter. I think he makes great albums, and that's Jackson. So now we're getting into kind of, I would call these more my B albums. I put these in here. I did listen to this. Richard Perry produced this, Leo Sayers' big hit, Endless Flight. I inherited this from a collection. It was one of those kind of deals. Very solid album. I mean, he does a cover of Reflections from Diana Ross and the Supremes. Does a really nice job with Magdalena. I really like a lot. It's got, speaking of Little Feat, got Billy Payne on it. And then the big hits where You Make Me Feel Like Dancing and When I Need You. He had Cynthia Weil and Barry Mann writing songs on here. He did Danny O'Keefe's song he does. Just a really, really interesting, good album from an English singer-songwriter. There's a song on the second side I was listening to today I think How Much Love sounds a lot like Elton John, who he was compared to. And it's really, really good, solid album if you like singer songwriter. Now, here's an English singer songwriter like Al Stewart. So, but compared to the Joni Mitchells and the David Crosby's and James Taylor, and there was just a lot of them in the East. This is a New Riders album from 1976. It has a lot of covers on it, not a lot of originals, so it got a little bit of criticism. It's on MCA. They left their long stalwart Columbia for MCA for this album. It's got Skip Batten on the bass, and then the original lineup: Buddy Cage, Spencer Dryden. Well, not the original that had Phil Lesh and Hart and Garcia on the steel, but John Dawson, David Nelson, and Spencer Dryden, of course, playing drums. Wonderful Spencer Dryden from the Airplane. Dead Flowers is on here. Hard to Handle. It's 15 Days Under the Hood. It's worth a pickup. It's something you can buy in the wild. New Riders. It's called New Riders. Not to be confused with the NRPS album. The 76. The NRPS album came out. New Riders of the Purple Sage, the first one in 71. This is a Donna Summer album, and there is Donna, and there is Donna, and this I'm showing you the cover from the live because it was mislabeled. It's the Love Trilogy. That was her 76 album. Giorgio Moroder recorded at Musicland, his recording, which was very, very big at the time. I mean, the Stones used it. It's really the European studio of choice, Musicland, and Giorgio Moroder, of course. He did Call Me with Blondie. But a very good, also, I wouldn't really call it a concept album. It's more a dance album, but it's stretched out, very, very stretched out with, like the second side has Prelude to Love, Could It Be Magic, Wasted, Come With Me. I mean, they're songs, but the first side is more, it's all 1755, is more like a medley type of thing of dance music. Nice, good Donna Summer. I mean, her vocals are solid. Very, very talented young lady. This must be my Atlanta Rhythm section. There's Atlanta Rhythm section on Polydor. So notice they weren't on Capricorn. So many of the Southern Rock Almonds and MTB, but of course Charlie Daniels wasn't. Was Charlie Daniels on Full Moon, I think? This is, speaking of Charlie Daniels and Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, Diga by Mickey Hart. He had 12 guys in this band, not including Jerry Garcia and David Freiberg from Quicksilver Messenger Service, who guest on the first couple of tunes, and it's very kind of drummy, meditative. I mean, if you don't like the drum solo in Dead and Company, you probably won't like this too much, but great cover too. It's got that foil going on there, and just great people on. Zakir Hossein is on here, as well as Jordan Amarantha, and there's Zakir Hossein. And then Ustad Ala Raqqa was his teacher at that time. Recorded at Mickey's Barn up in Novato. They're the guys with all their instruments on the back. And I've got a bunch of Mickey Hart, being, a Dead fan that I am. And interesting album. As I say, meditative. It's got a nice version, early version of Fire on the Mountain, with Jerry doing the guitar and Mickey pounding it out. So now I'm into live albums. Poco Live. This was actually their second live album. I think their seventh album total. Might be off on that. This was 74. So this came out with when Paul Cotton kind of took the place. Messina had left and the Richie Fury left. Poco went through a lot. One of the reasons I think Poco wasn't more successful up like a Buffalo Springfield, or Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, or the Byrds, or Flying Burrito Brothers. I'm kind of all over the place with these country rock bands, but it's because they had so many personnel changes. But this has a great playing on it. It's got Future Eagle, Randy Meisner on the bass, who sings. Paul Cotton's very, very solid, taking the lead vocals and lead guitar. And you've got Rusty Young and George Grantham, who always seem to be these stalwarts all through all of them. And it's recorded live. Don't have much more to say about it. Poco Live, 1976, on the Epic label. Most of their stuff was on Epic. The other live album they did, Delivering, is also great. Probably superior, but it has Messina and Richie Fury, who both were in Buffalo Springfield. So there you go. An earlier album. I think that was their third album, fourth album, something like that, recorded in Boston and in New York. Fifth Dimension. All right, a little soulful singing. Billy Williams and Marilyn McCoo. Sorry, Billy Will. I got my film and my music. This is a really nice double album. It's got a lot of great songwriting on it, as you would expect. Of course, it's got Hair, nice black liner for them. And, what else do I want to say about this? The Hair trilogy, When the Moon is in the Seventh House, right? Hair. Aquarius, thank you. Dawning of the Age of Aquarius. And then it's got Laura Nero, Stony End, Stone Soul Picnic, Wedding Bell Blues, which was a big hit for them. The beginning has a love medley. It has some Beatles in it. All You Need Is Love. What the World Needs Now Is Love, Sweet Love. Of course, Burt Bacharach. And then side 3 is a Jimmy Webb medley with MacArthur Park and ends up with Ode to Billy Joel. So you got a lot of singing from the Fifth Dimension. Very, very good. Very, very well recorded in Vegas. A 76 live. Little soul for you. Getting back to singer-songwriters, now I'm into, I got one more. I got them out of order. All right. I'm going into the live albums. This is actually part of the best of greatest hits. So I had them a little out of order, but I'll do this one since I showed it. James Taylor, greatest hits. Everything's on here pre-Handyman. Handyman's not on this. It's got Something in the Way She Moves, Caroline on My Mind. Pretty much picked 2 or 3 songs from every one of his first 5 or 6 albums through a live steamroller. Very nice live steamroller. Something in the Way She Moves and Caroline in My Mind, the first 2 songs were re-recorded with Peter Asher at the Sound Factory. I don't know, I guess James didn't like them. Very vanilla packaging here, sort of a white album type of thing. I don't know if that was intentional. I just kind of thought of that myself. It's got an inner. Where is it here? And just great people on here. I mean, all the usual suspects. So there's James in the studio in L.A. Carole King, Joni Mitchell, Byron Berlin, speaking of the Burrito Brothers, Dan Dugmore, who is the steel player for Linda Ronstadt, who we'll talk about in a minute, Lee Sklar, Russ Kunkel, Danny Korchmar, The Cooch, Milt Holland, just David Sanborn, Michael Brecker, on and on and on. James doing doing all the vocals, writing all the songs, everything except You've Got a Friend was Carole King. She's on here. She plays on, what did she play on? Carole King on Fire and Rain. She plays piano. And Sweet Baby James. So they were, a couple things about James Taylor and Carole King. They were like cheerleaders for each other, They really cheered. Both of them, I think, were young and insecure about their writing and performing and being able to do albums. They were writers, or they were in, he was in a band, she was a writer. And they helped each other tremendously, come out of their shell. And of course played the Troubadour and then did that reunion album at the Troubadour. Shout out to my daughter. I got both my kids in today to make sure I get him, my wonderful wife Sandy too. But Sherry just did a benefit out at the Troubadour. Very, very iconic club out in LA. All right, moving on with back to the live albums. Steal Your Face. So this is a double 1976 live Grateful Dead album. Many people may know it. Great set list. I mean, I was listening to Big River, Black Throated Wind, U.S. Blues, El Paso, Promised Land, Casey Jones, Must Have Been the Roses. Great stuff on here. Ship of Fools, Mississippi Half Step. The recording, I don't know. Phil did a lot of the engineering on this. Not to blame him, may he rest in peace. But it was recorded at Winterland for that Last Stand in 1974 when they did the movie. Oh, there's pictures in here. There's pictures of the Dead early, and then there's pictures of the Dead at the concert as well. You can see some of those, Phil and Bobby and Jerry, etc. So a mixed bag. If you can, and this is an original. So on the CD, I think they tweaked it a little bit, but it's got some issues sonically, and I'm not really sure why. They were moving record companies at that time from their own record company to Arista. They were trying to do a deal. Clive Davis. The story is Clive Davis went after the New Riders so he could get to the Dead, which is pretty funny. This is Average White Band. I don't have the discs from it, and we're doing live albums. So this is Person to Person after Cut the Cake and their debut, self-titled debut. They did Person to Person. I saw them live about this time. There's a picture of them. Fantastic. Really, really great music. Wonderful music. Funky, R&B, in the pocket. Just fantastic. Steve Ferrone was drumming on this. Ani McIntyre, Roger Ball on the sax, Hamish Stewart on the lead vocals and guitar, Alan Gorey and Molly Duncan. Just really fine. Arif Marden, people may know from Atlantic. They were a big Atlantic artist, did the production on this, and it's tight. Very good sounding. Has all the hits you would want. Cut the Cake, I mentioned. Pick Up the Pieces was another big hit. It doesn't have Work to Do, which I really like Work to Do. Has a long version of Heard It Through the Grapevine and Schoolboy Crush. Really good. AWB, love them. I have all that one and the first two on vinyl. This is AWB. Okay, here's the labels. They were on Atlantic. I mentioned that, original Atlantics. Okay. And then we've got Cody, as in Commander Cody. Got a live one here from their tour of Europe. This is the band. And they added Rick Higginbotham, that I know as an engineer for Jefferson Starship, but he plays guitar on this. I guess he does some engineering as well too. And who's the harp player? Harp. Buffalo Bruce. You got the Commander. Oh, there's a picture of the bus going through Europe. There's, I want to say, Putnam. Where is he? Rhythm guitar. Anyway, I can't find it right now. Andy Stein, Rick Higginbotham, Bill Kirchen, Bobby Black on the steel. Just great stuff. Looking at the World Through a Windshield, to Hot Rod Lincoln, down to Seeds and Stems again, Rock That Boogie, Riot in Cell Block Number 9, It Should Have Been Me. Great stuff. Great stuff. I want to find that. The harp player, but I can't. Andy Stein, rhythm guitar. Norton Buffalo, there you go. I got Norbert Putnam and Norton Buffalo mixed up. Norton Buffalo on the harmonica and Rick Higginbotham on the rhythm guitar with the regular stalwarts of Commander Cody and the LPA, the Lost Planet Airmen. Really nice. I have this on vinyl now, and I have it on CD as well, which my wife gave to me. See, I knew I'd get a shout out to my wife. Thank you, Sandy. A really good one. A triple live. This was a biggie in '76. Paul, this is amazingly recorded album. I've never been a big fan of this album, but listening to it, I gotta say, the recording, the performances, I know they probably tweaked it a little bit, but it's the song selection, the way he put the songs together, it is fantastic. For somebody that didn't tour all those years, the Beatles went from 67 to 70, 71 before he started touring again. And this, I think this was his first major tour. It's fantastic. Maybe I'm Amazed. He's got Eleanor Rigby, a bunch of the Wings stuff, Long and Winding Road, Bluebird. I mean, Let 'Em In, Silly Love Songs, Band on the Run. You get it. Greatest hits of Wings and McCartney with Linda and the great Jimmy McCullough on the guitars, and Denny Lane, of course, from Left Moody Blues after that first album, and Joe English on the drums. Really, really nice cover with the plane thing going on there. It's also gatefold, very big with gatefolds in '76. Got a lot of gatefolds, and I think there was a poster with it. Not much with the inserts. The inserts are just kind of black. I have a poster to show you. I think I got, yeah. Let's see if I can get the Wings poster here. I love it, when you get the vintage albums and it's got a poster. Wow, it's two-sided. So Wings Over America with all 5 of them. They all are, and then shots from the tour. Like, how would you put this on your wall, right? You'd have to, choose one of the sides. That would be really, really difficult. So that's pretty cool. Very generous, Paul III. And I think I read that he marked the price of the. There's a great picture of Paul with the bass, '76. I think they marked the price of this down as well. All right, another big live hit. That was a big hit. They still play Maybe I'm Amazed a lot, the live version. And I've got the studio version, and I never really got it why they play this stuff, but listen to the albums, a lot of other good. But this was a huge Peter Frampton from Humble Pie, went solo in '73, Frampton's Camel. He did 2 or 3 albums. And then did this live album and just exploded. Another gatefold with Pete, with the Les Paul. And I hear he's really cranking it out. He's doing a tour now. So it's nice to see somebody out there that's really... John Simos on the drums, Bob Mayo on guitar, Stanley Sheldon on the bass, which was his band. And there's pictures of them in here. And this says, Baby, I Love Your Way, and what's the other? Show Me the Way, Something's Happening, Winds of Change. I mean, it's got Jumpin' Jack Flash, cover of the Stones, Do You Feel Like We Do, ends it up. So a lot of big hits from this Frampton Comes Alive. A lot of people know that album. And it did get a lot of airplay, and, they kind of played it out, but it's worth going back to. Back to the best of. Okay, I finished the live. This is Loggins and Messina Greatest Hits. Wonderful. I'm a big Loggins and Messina fan. Speaking of Jimmy Messina and Poco, went from Buffalo Springfield to Poco. Really good guy in the studio. Was supposed to. The story was sitting in the first Loggins and Messina. He was going to, produce the album for him. Yeah, the guy's wrestling there. And this is Your Mama Don't Dance, and the trilogy, Peace of Mind, Vahiva La, Angry Eyes, Thinking of You, House of Pooh Corner. I mean, everything you'd want. Danny's song, Watching the River Run. Really, really good. '76 was a big year, not only for gatefolds, but also for best of. So you've got best of L&M, best of Linda Ronstadt. Little wear and tear there at the bottom. Sorry about that. Wonderful, wonderful selection from Linda. All her Capitol stuff, from Heart Like a Wheel, the Prisoner in Disguise album. Great people on here. Of course, Peter Asher doing a lot of the production, as he did for James Taylor. Andrew Gold, Kenny Edwards. I mentioned Dan Dugmore. I think he's all over this. Terrific people. Spooner Oldham used Chris Etheridge on bass from the who played with the Flying Burrito Brothers. Who else? Buddy Spiker on fiddle, a great Nashville guy. This has a harpsichord and bass by Norbert Putnam. And Bernie Leadon from the Eagles. Jimmy Gordon on drums for different drum. Jimmy Gordon, 1967. So that was, a big hit. Written by Mike Nesmith of the Monkees, as people may know, and with the Stone Ponies, Kenny Edwards and Bobby Kimmel. Kenny Edwards stayed with her and played bass and guitar. Sneaky Pete, Danny Cooch, Dan Dugmore, there he is, on Tracks of My Tears. I mean, the songs on here, Paul Anka, Heat Wave, When Will I Be Loved, That'll Be the Day, the Buddy Holly tune, Love is a Rose, Neil Young. Typical Linda, great Linda, Linda's first classic. Leon Russell, Best of Leon. I put a picture of this, love that back picture of Leon. And this has A Stranger in a Strange Land and Delta Lady and Tightrope and Masquerade and Bluebird. More Best of Leon, 76, Roll Away the Stone. It has Out in the Woods, which I love, from Masquerade. That's a really great album, by the way. And last but not least, wrapping it up, because we've got one kind of long, Love and Spoonful. This is a best of that came out in 76 on Kama Sutra, and has wonderful, wonderful songs from John Sebastian and the rest of the Spoonful. Do You Believe in Magic? Daydream, some best of the Love and Spoonful. If you can get this, find this out there, pick it up on Kama Sutra. It's great. Nashville Cats, 6 o'clock, Darlin' Be Home Soon. You Didn't Have to Be So Nice, Younger Girl, Rain on the Roof, and of course Summer on the City. That's it for me. I'll be coming back next time with 1977. Have a great one. Keep spinning. Shout out to a couple channels, All Day Vinyl. Good talking with you today. And of course, my buddies, Tony's LP Are Us, and Kenny's Audiophile out in California, spinning them. And Steve Westman's doing a great job with the roundtables, audio roundtables. We'll see you soon. Doodah Dave signing off.